Now, of course, Donald Trump, after his time in Flint, Michigan, invited to a church, scolded by the pastor, told to stop acting that way, immediately cowered in front of this pastor. She seemed nice. She didn't seem too intimidating, but he seemed very, very nervous about it. But he was tired. He immediately wrapped up his speech. He left. And I wonder if his ego was bruised. I wonder if
A little bit.
the guy who, remember when he talked about Bernie Sanders and he said like, oh, Bernie Sanders could, how could he possibly let anybody take the mic from him that's very weak, that's not very strong? What is it? What did he say?
I would never give up my microphone. I thought that was disgusting. That showed such weakness. The way he was taken away by two young women, the microphone, they just took the whole place over. And the audience, which liked him, I mean, they were him. They're saying, what's going on? How can this happen?
Okay.
That will never
happen
with me.
All right. That will never happen with me, says Donald Trump. Well, so his ego is bruised. And what do you do, ladies and gentlemen, when you are a billionaire, or at least a self-proclaimed billionaire, and your ego has been bruised? Where can you go? Where's a safe place to hold your hand? Well, it's with your friends or with your Fox and friends.
Were they talking about trying to educate you about what was going on in Flint?
Well, I was in Flint yesterday, and it was a very interesting experience and got unbelievably good treatment from people, I must say. And even in that audience, the treatment was great. But something was up because I noticed she was so nervous when she introduced me, and she called NBC, ABC. ABC was up, the owner of an NBC network, and she said he owns ABC, and we sort of smiled together backstage. And when she got up to introduce me, she was so nervous. She was shaking, and I said, wow, this is sort of strange. And then she came up. So she had that in mind. There's no question about it.
Bother you? Does it bother you? You
no,
seemed
it
like
doesn't
it
bother me. No, everyone plays their games. It doesn't bother me. I'll tell you what really made me feel good. The audience was saying, let him speak, let him speak.
Right.
And the audience was so great. And these are mostly African-American people, phenomenal people, and they want to see change. I mean, they're living in, you have to see that the crime rate over there is ridiculous. The whole place is, not only the water, the water is, what they did with the water is horrible, but the crime rate and all the other problems they have. And people want to see, when I use the expression, I say, what do you have to lose? I'm going to fix it. Well, I'm going to fix it. What do you have to lose? And I'll tell you, the audience was fantastic, but she was so nervous. She was like a nervous mess.
Now, in that moment after she chastises Trump, she also tells the audience to stop heckling him at one point, too. And that's why Trump said, thank you, Pastor. I appreciate that. But here she is. Why would she, this pastor from this small church in Flint, they must have, boy, I would say a weekly a moment where they're on national television. Why else would she be nervous? She was definitely up to something.
She had sweat coming out of her wherever.
Does it bother him? Of course it does not bother him. Of course it does not bother him. Why else would he not call in to Fox and Friends to talk about her?
I mean, if you insist, I'll insult her on television. It's not like typical of my behavior. I'm more of a sort of classy, let the chips fall where they may kind of guy. It's not like I'm someone who has an obsessive, compulsive, really psychologically ill need to respond to absolutely everything that's said about me, including a pastor politely asking me to not turn a nonpartisan appreciation of her city into a hacky campaign event. But if you insist, I'll do it. I'm not comfortable with it. By the way, if Bernie Sanders had meekly ducked his head and said, yeah, okay, that would have been very masculine. That's how you respond.
Oh, man. Oh, God. God help us all.
I think that might have been the most restraint I've ever seen him do on the spot, which was stopping himself from calling Flint just like a flaming garbage pile. Like, I mean, because that's where he was starting to go. And then he was just like, the crime rate is so high.
Oh, you mean on Fox and Friends?
Yeah, on Fox and Friends, when he was saying, you should see what it's like here. And basically,
Well, he wanted to. He
wanted to say that, but
well, yeah,
he stopped
had to catch
himself,
himself because he wanted to make it about how he was
himself.
going to save them, as opposed to say like, "It's a zoo. I would never go there." Oh no, I meant I'll help them. What do they got to lose?
Right, exactly.
Unbelievable.
He usually doesn't stop himself. He usually just keeps going and then says there's some good reason he said it or some, I don't know.
Well, it's like him when he went to Mexico. He gets into like Trump around minorities mode, and then he has to like explain.
That needs the trend. Hashtag Trump around minorities mode. I mean, look, I'm frankly not trying to get my car jacked when I'm at a campaign event.
Hey folks, Sam Seder here. I just got back from a company-wide meeting. Accounting is really coming down on me hard. We need to get to 100,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So please enjoy this channel. Subscribe right down there.